Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back, Banished the Hair Party. Well, picking up where we left off last video, because I had to stop after 4 minutes because dinner was ready. Okay, let's continue where it left off. Okay, I did mention basically Ruti and Red did come home, and they did see in the book the mess the shop the Aries made it. In the anime, it's mentioned that they see it, but we don't see it in the anime. No, not really, because it's very brief in the book, and they also mentioned that Rit was extremely upset with the bed they sleep in being destroyed over the shop, and after they get the place fixed. Which, by the way, it's fixed pretty quickly too, and we do see that Ruti has officially stopped wearing her hero garb. Well, she wore them later. But most of this episode, after the whole incident with the wood elves thing, where she's wearing like a white outfit with a hat. Yes, Ruti is wearing a hat, and she's expressing a lot more emotion than usual, thanks to her blessing, which they call it the true blessing. Yes, it was the unnamed skill that she had, and you have this really neat scene of basically Red, Rit, Ruti, and Tessie, where they're just having a meal. And the book, they actually mentioned they do have one more of these meals in the book. They do. Well, this meal itself actually is breakfast. But I think in the book, they don't really mention what they ate. Here, they ate pizza breakfast. I'm like, really? Pizza? Now I'm thinking like, okay, where the heck did they get pizza from? Because it's a fantasy world. I still think somebody must have isekai'd here and brought some stuff with them. Because why the heck would some people wear stuff that normal people from this type of time period would not be wearing? Like a doctor wearing, the doctor in the village wearing the attire of a modern day doctor. Actually, back then, doctors were just wearing a suit and tie. Yep. And then pretty much after that, we have that little meal, and then we mentioned that mentioned via conversation. In the book, it was referenced basically as a background thing. In the anime, it's a slight change where I think it's Ruti mentioned that she and Tess looking to buy a farm. You know, to grow mechanical herbs, thanks to the fact she worked as a part timer at the apothecary. Then, let's see what happened after that. I'm trying to remember what happened next after that. Oh yeah, if they go home. Oh yeah, before that really noteworthy scene. Before I get to that scene with Ruti and Red, I have to talk about this next scene, which this is from the book, and mostly put, it's the same exact scene. I think they changed a couple words of dialogue for this scene, where we have Ruti and Red, and they go to the port. And of course, the ogre, the goblin who's there, thinks, "Oh, are you cheating on Red?" And Red's like, "No, this is my little sister." Oh, your sister? She's a cutie. So you have a champion and your sister. Of course, he's implying the fact that Red might be sleeping with his little sister, which, no, he isn't. So they buy the cheapest thing there as booth, and after that, then we have the night of Ruti, of Red and Rit, where after the whole thing with the bed thing, then of course they hug each other, then they go upstairs. This is of course the episode. I should point out though, this scene is from the book, and from what I can tell, they changed one tiny bit of dialogue here, one line, out of this entire scene. Because what happens though, we see Red, where he's sort of unbuttoning Rit's nightshirt, and then he just touches, look like he's about to touch her breast, and then it's implied that he kind of tickled her, and of course got payback, and then she gets off the bed, and then she proceeds to take off her clothes, and in the book they mention, oh yeah, the night sky glowed to cover up her private parts, which, yes, that happened in anime. So basically, we see Rit completely naked. And of course, we also see, oh yeah, by the way, Now, in the book, basically, Red mentions that she's beautiful. In the anime, he's talking not about her body, he's talking about her breast. Yes, seriously, that's the only change they made in the entire scene. Because after they kiss, and we cut to moments later, where it's kind of implied just by seeing these two, like seeing Red without his shirt on, and because Red always strips up naked, Red and Red had sex. Yes, they did. This is by far the second anime I reviewed recently where either like in the case this is a final episode or in the case of Machuka Tenshin's Incarnation, we have a scene where two people have sex. They don't really go into graphic detail with it, but they have it here. As far as I can tell, overall, since I've been reviewing this stuff, this has happened a few times over the course of basically a viewing series, and no, this is not a hentai. It's just that it's kind of implied off-screen Red and Red had sex. And then they have a conversation about the fact they want to start a family together, about babysitting grandkids. It's mostly verbatim from the book. And then like the very next day, we have like a day in the city itself where we see Albert is going off with his party. We see his best friend, who is the nephew of Gons. Gons, and of course, we see Gons' brother-in-law, who basically fixed up Red's shop. And Gons mentioned basically, introduce your sister sometime. Despite the fact in the book, he briefly met her in the book. Yeah, they cut that scene out of the anime. Of the introduction to each other. Yep. And, like, the hot spring stuff, basically showing various characters over the course of this thing. And then we have the ending. Yes. I should point out, though, that I think his name is not Gideon, the one who makes the Devil's Blessing, the drug dealer, where he runs away from seeing Red, and the next time we see, which was toward the end of the very episode, he says, "Oh, you're having a drink of me. I never knew a pretty lady." Now, in the book, he does mention her by name. In the anime, they don't mention her name until you see who he's talking to. Like, oh, a pretty woman who just happens to be an elf. I wonder who this could be. And then the woman stands up, and it's Alondra, making her first appearance in this anime since episode 5. And in case you're curious, though, did this brief scene between these two happen in the book? Yes, it did. Yes, this comes from the epilogue of the book. There's actually chunks of the epilogue they do cut out here, mostly because they basically had it as sort of a series of montages, just to speed up the ending of the episode itself. I don't necessarily have a problem with it at all, but mostly because it just basically just a bunch of random things happening. But it shows characters we see over the course of the series so far. And Yolanda mentioning she really wants to see Gideon and Red again. Gideon and Red again. Ruti, and that's the episode. I gotta say, this was a damn good episode. And I can't wait whenever they get a chance to do a season 2. I will discuss more about that, my final thoughts on the season, in the very next video. Yep. So yeah, that's it. Sick of you. Next one will be episode 8. My final thoughts on season 1 of Banished from the Hero Party. Okay? Next video. Bye.